2, 3, 4.
March is here, the best month I hear. My birthday's near, the luck of the Irish will appear. So do not fear or shed a tear. Spring break will come, so woo-hoo, my dear. Good morning, my brothers and sisters, on this fine morning of our 26th episode of the Good Morning Guys podcast. Thank you so much for joining us on this fine morning, afternoon, evening, or night as we continue discussing the game of life amidst the other games we love to watch and play. I am one of your hosts, the Brazilian mountaineer, Lucas Ham Swisher. Beside me is the judge, the jury, and the executioner of fake news, Patrick Novosel.
I'm just a poor boy, nobody loves me.
He's just a poor boy from a poor family. Sorry.
I was going to let you keep going, but okay. Also with me, also beside me, the guy who's remaining silent, but can crack us up in 3 words or less, Ronnie Johantis.
Hi.
And finally, the man with music in his heart and Doctor Who on his brain, DJ Marcy B, 2K19, Marc Boucher.
Guys, we are half a year old today. It's kind of crazy.
Whoa.
Isn't that?
Yeah.
No, that's tech. Oh, yeah, that's now.
26?
26.
26.
That's how
you
math
are right.
works.
Yeah, I actually can do math sometimes.
Oh, we're living on a prayer.
Are we walking at this point, or are we just crawling? I don't know.
I think it depends on the week. Sometimes we're crawling, sometimes we're walking, skipping, hobbling.
'Cause I'm crawling in the dark.
All right.
Oh.
That sounds like a personal problem. You need to turn.
We are firing on all cylinders tonight.
Yes, we are. Folks, if this is your... Oh, go ahead, Marc.
I was just going to say, and an extra cylinder that nobody knew about.
True that. We are a Humvee. I don't know. Hummer. What's that? What's that engine? Humdinger. That's a humdinger. Oh, folks, if this is your first time joining us, yeah, I can't say this is.
Yeah.
I can't say this is much different than usual. But if you lasted through this episode, please go back and listen to our other much better starting episodes. Of course, it depends on your opinion. If this is not your first time joining us, you know how this is how it is. You never know what's going to come out of our mouths, what we're going to think, what we're going to say. For all you know, this could be the 3rd time we've done this. It's actually the 2nd. But who's counting? How you guys doing today? Good?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
All right.
Pretty good.
Well, good. Things are about...
Pretty good.
Good. Things are about to get pretty good better. Because we have... I'm just starting things out red hot. Because we're getting ourselves into a quick fire. God bless you. Super listener Chad, for a 2nd week in a row, has delivered a quick fire to give us the chance to redeem ourselves. Now, I think we have one of 2 ways we can go about this. We can either redeem ourselves, or we can just make it that much more hilarious and that much more worse than last week. I'm going to leave it up to you guys. We're just going to see what happens. Don't force it, but let's just go with it. So, quick fire questions from our good old buddy, super listener Chad at Chad Fackler 1. This is a breakfast quick fire, so I hope you're ready.
Wait, which order are we going in, though?
Good call. I was just about to say. Last week we went Ronnie, Patrick, Marc. This week we're going Marc, Patrick, Ronnie.
I'm first.
We're going Ronnie, Patrick, Marc.
We're going ABC.
No, we're going Lucas, Ronnie, Marcus.
We're
Patrick.
going. We're going to go in.
I think Marc had 2 turns last
We're
time.
going to go in ABC order, so it's going to be Lucas, Marc, Patrick, Ronnie. That's how.
You're going to read the question, then answer immediately?
That's how math works. Yes, I'm going to answer it.
I love how that order changed at least 5 times.
Horrible flow. That's a horrible flow.
Your face is horrible. Okay.
Oh, dang.
Dang.
Burn.
Your face.
Get the aloe out of my desk.
It's what I've
What were we
decided.
doing again?
Quickfire. We already did it.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was that quick. It's over. Okay, so moving on. Okay, no, but seriously. We got a breakfast quickfire. Lucas, Mark, Patrick, Ronnie. You guys ready?
Let's go.
Let's do it. Waffles or pancakes? Pancakes.
Pancakes.
Waffles.
Waffles.
Oh, a split decision.
Split.
Sausage, bacon, ham, goetta.
Goetta.
Obviously, Patrick, shut your face. Obviously, it's ham.
He is lashing out tonight because he's angry.
I'm actually trying to make us have a quick fire that is successful, but I think I'm trying too hard. So, but I'm gonna go with ham because I have no idea what goetta is. I like sausage and bacon, but
It's goetta.
well, why is there an O there?
I don't know. Why is
You know,
there?
look, if people, if you're gonna make a quick fire, don't put words in there that don't match phonetically with the way they're spelled.
It's
Goetta
German.
or Maltesers?
goetta, Maltesers. Yeah, we'll do that one later. That'll be the extra bonus. Is Maltesers or goetta? So
Goetta?
It's German,
Murdering it.
Lucas.
I don't even know what that is. What is it, Mark?
So
It's heaven.
obviously, Ronnie and Patrick would know much better than I would, because apparently this is a big deal in the Cincinnati area.
Yeah, it is.
But I decided to use the old Google machine because I had no idea what it was. But apparently, it's a particular way that you serve sausage with like oats and spices and stuff in it as well. Is that about right?
So
That's
it's like
about right.
So it's like horse sausage.
What?
Do
I
horses
guess.
eat sausage?
What's horse sausage?
Well, if oats are in it, why wouldn't horses eat it?
Oh.
I get it.
Oh man, listen, if
Bacon.
if goetta is sausage,
Out of turn.
why? Yeah, exactly. It's technically it's Mark's turn, but I'm not letting him go yet. If goetta is sausage, then why use it in the list with sausage? It should be
What's that?
bacon, ham, or goetta, or is it
It's mostly sausage.
or sausage, bacon, or ham? Don't put goetta or goda or goetta in there. It's confusing to people.
Goetta is really when you come into the States in a few months, I'm gonna get you some goetta. It's so good.
You're going to get beat up if you call it that around here.
Hey, can I get me some goetta? I heard some good things about that stuff.
I'm a go at your face.
Oh no! All right. Ham.
What?
In case you've forgotten, because this quickfire has derailed.
Oh yeah.
Question?
we're-
Sausage, bacon, ham, or horse sausage, aka goetta. I go ham.
I'm
Middle
going
name.
with bacon.
Bacon.
What is goetta?
We already went through that.
It's horse sausage.
Oh,
We
I was
already
just trying to
told
answer
you.
the question correctly.
Oh gosh.
I was just trying to answer the question correctly.
Quickfire and Jeopardy don't mix. I'm sorry. You have to add extra words.
Who is goetta?
Okay, I'll accept that. All right, next one. Hash browns or home fries? I'm going to go with hash browns.
Hash browns as well.
Hash browns.
Hash browns.
Now, wait. Loose hash browns, like in a pile, like where they just kind of shred it and put it on a plate, or formed hash browns like McDonald's? I'm going to go formed.
Sticking with the form train.
Formed.
Formed.
Formed has it. All right. Eggs, scrambled, fried, or poached? Oh, I go
What's
first.
poached mean?
What? Yeah. What is poached?
What are we
That's
talking
that's
about?
when it's endangered and it's in the wild and you kill it.
Wow.
Oh, man. No, it's when you boil it. That's right? I mean, that's what I've always been
Yes,
told, that
basically, yes.
poaching eggs. So
Never heard of
so
that.
this is another one. If you have an easier word you can use that word. So scrambled, fried, or boiled. I'm going to go with scrambled.
Scrambled with cheese.
Yeah, that's why I chose scrambled, because you can just throw a bunch of stuff in it. It's awesome.
What were the
Yeah, but that's
what were
not
the
part of the
answers
question.
again? What were they again?
Scrambled, fried, or boiled / poached.
Which ones?
Just play back the recording
Right
and
now.
insert your answer later, okay? Just like
Scrambled.
edit it in.
Scrambled.
What's the question again?
Do you like your goetta scrambled, fried, or poached?
Fried, please.
Perfect. All right, how about bread? White, wheat, rye, English muffin, or biscuit? Listen, Chad, seriously. Quickfires do not get 5 options. It's quickfire. You're making it. This is your
It's
fault.
only going to slow the show down here.
This week, I blame you. Last week, shame on us. This week, shame on you, Chad Fackler. We love you. But I think
He is lashing out tonight. Listen
I
to this.
think he did this.
Now
on-
he's lashing out at our fans.
It's making me want breakfast. Is what's going on.
Well,
so angry.
that too. Oh, snap. Okay. White wheat, rye, English muffin, or biscuit. If I have like a full spread of like condiments and honey and all that stuff, I'm biscuit. I'm going biscuit. Biscuit's the most versatile bread. Salty, sweet.
I feel like you should have to answer them if you have to eat them solely by themselves.
Okay.
That style of
Is
bread.
that how it is? Only?
I don't know.
Then we need to start over because I wasn't thinking
Makes it
of
way
it like
more
that.
interesting, I think.
Because I think waffles taste better by themselves than pancakes. So can we start over?
No,
Let's just
keep
do the
going.
whole thing over again.
All right. Mark, go. Bread.
English muffin.
Look at you.
Now, if we're talking Red Lobster biscuits, those all the way.
That counts. Those are in the biscuit, and I'd eat those for breakfast.
I was going to go with the white bread, but I'm going with the Red Lobster biscuits now, too.
Yeah, cheddar bay
Way better.
biscuits.
Well,
Mark,
there
do you
go.
want to change your answer?
No, I'm gonna stick with the English muffin. However,
Look at you
the
being all.
biscuits are raising.
They are. Mark's being all fancy, and all British. English muffin, please,
Oh,
with some
yes.
tea.
Indubitably.
All right. Bonus question: grits, yay or nay? Nay for me.
That's a nay from me.
What is goetta? Nay.
Thank you.
Nay.
Nice. Nice
Having flashbacks because of that.
horse sausage reference. Wow. All right. Well, if you folks didn't think it'd get any worse, I'm pretty sure it just did. So
Welcome.
thank you so much, Chad. But you know what? It's worse in a good way. Shout out to Chad Fackler for his wonderful quickfire questions. I love you, man. And you know what? I think this is the perfect time to shout out Chad Fackler and how much I love him. Because this is
Are we going to shout his name?
Chad Fackler. No.
Chad Fackler! Chad Fackler!
I think this is the perfect moment. This kind of bleeds into my update, and I'll get back to it later. But Chad Fackler bought me Overwatch this week. I'm just throwing
There
it
it
out
is.
there.
Yeah.
Chad Fackler,
What a nice guy.
wonderful human being. He is the very man who bought me Overwatch this week. And I'll touch more on it during my update, but this was the perfect moment because he just threw like the worst quickfire questions at us. And I wanted to make sure he knew that I still love him very much, and he's one of my best buddies. So shout out to Chad Fackler. Also, before we get into our updates, I did want to do a quick shout out to some podcasts that we have cross-streamed with over the past few weeks. Last week, I did mention the Delvin Cox Experience. I very quickly, offhandishly mentioned the podcast Junkie Discord and podcast. It's a podcast that talks about a bunch of different podcasts during its weekly shows, and they also have a Discord that's kind of like a hub for lots of different podcasts to kind of get together and trade off ideas and kind of collaborate together, network them together, and all that cool stuff. But their host, Zach Auld, he is one cool guy, and he's been participating a lot in our Discord, the Married to the Games Discord. And I just want to shout out to Podcast Junkie. They're doing a great thing over there, and you guys our listeners should definitely check out his show sometime, especially if you're always looking for the latest and greatest podcasts. I think every week he tries to share about a different podcast, new podcasts, sometimes old podcasts, depending on what kind of comes his way. But he is definitely a podcast junkie. I think I read the other day that he has like 300 podcasts that he's subscribed to, that he listens to off and on. I don't understand how he listens, if he like actually listens to 300 podcasts or he's just subscribed to kind of have his feelers out there. But that man is definitely the podcast junkie of junkies. The other podcast that I wanted to highlight is, and a shout out to, is the Future Monkeys podcast. I stumbled on them by listening to our brother podcast, the Delvin Cox Experience, when he interviewed them on the show. They mainly got my attention because of their candor, their humor. Also, one of their hosts, Los, he reminds me a lot of myself if I happen to live in Florida and I had absolutely no filter. I will tell you that what you guys are getting on the show today and in the past is me with a filter. So he reminds me of myself without a filter. He's super hilarious, ridiculous in a good way, and pretty much says and experiences a lot of the same things I have. I just don't share half of it with you guys. And also, most importantly, he loves to wear socks with sandals. But check those guys out. We've been active on their podcast, and especially. I lost my train of thought. Sorry, Marc was shaking his head about my socks and sandals, and it made me laugh. But that's
what you get.
That's what I get. I know, for bringing up socks and sandals. But check those guys out. They're definitely some good guys over there, and they're crazy, but they're fun. With that being said, that's all the shout outs, the housekeeping as it were, that I had to share. If you guys have anything else, you're welcome to share, or if you just want to get right into the updates, we can do that too. Patrick?
Updates.
Yeah.
Updates.
You said it, so you lead the way, buddy. What's been going on, Patrick? What's new in your life?
Nothing.
Fantastic.
Ronnie, what's going on with
Next, Ronnie, go.
Quick fire.
Quick fire updates.
No, this past week has been a pretty chill week. We didn't really do anything as far as family wise. We hung out. I did watch 3 movies this past week.
Look at you.
And for me to watch movies is, I mean, it's a tall order, because whenever in my free time, I'm playing games. But there were 2 movies that had that I'd checked out this past week. The first one was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Mm-hmm.
So that came
buddy.
out last Tuesday, and I got an email from Sony Pictures saying, "Hey, this is out. Get it digital." And I was like, "Okay, let's do it." So I came home that night, and I had I threw it on, and I heard nothing but good things about this movie. So I put it on, and man, one of the things that really the reason why I didn't see it in the movie theater is because the animation is not like a very fluid animation like Pixar, like I'm used to. It feels like they're like skipping a couple frames while they're moving.
Oh yeah,
So
I noticed that when I saw the trailers, a few of the trailers.
Yeah. It kind of turned me off a little bit. But I heard from everyone that had seen this movie, you got to see it. So finally, it came out on Tuesday, and I had finally watched it. I started watching it with my son, and he had fallen asleep about 30 minutes in because it was late. But no, I mean, without spoilers, the movie was all about Miles Morales and his journey becoming Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
And the relationship that he had with his family, the relationship he had with Spider-Man, it was unlike any other story that in the Spider-Man universe that I've ever been exposed to. So that relationship between his dad and him, and his mom and him, really, I mean, it didn't really hit home with me because I didn't really have that kind of relationship with my dad. I have a really good relationship with him. But the way they interacted with each other was awesome, and the way that relationship developed throughout the entire movie was awesome. So that was kind of cool. But one of the really cool things about this movie is all the different Spider-Men that were in this movie. I mean, you had Spider-Man Noir, who was voiced by Nicolas Cage. He was awesome. That is
crazy. That Nicolas Cage voicing in a Spider-Man movie. That's awesome.
So that was cool. And he comes from a black and white world. So when he came into the world, he had no idea what any color was. He had a Rubik's Cube in his hand at one point, and he's like, is this red? Is this blue? So it was pretty funny. And there's like Spider Gwent, I think it was.
Gwent,
or
like
Spider-Woman.
the Witcher card game?
Gwen.
Spider-Man?
Yeah,
Gwen.
it was a huge crossover. The Witcher and
Spider
Spider-Man.
Gwent. He's like, oh, I don't fight crime. I just play the Witcher card game on my console of choice.
Gwen.
Oh, Spider-Gwen. Oh, okay, whatever. I don't think...
Thank you,
I don't know
Marc.
what I'm talking about. Yeah, and then there was like a couple Spider-Men, and then Spider-Ham.
Oh, yeah. My favorite.
Of course.
Old Peter Porker.
Yeah. So the all those Spider-Men working together was absolutely awesome. About, I would say, maybe about an hour into the movie, I thought to myself, oh yeah, I'm watching a animated movie, because the story was so good I did not focus on the animation, which was a testament to how good the movie was, as I wasn't really paying attention to that. Because when I see like DC animated movies, I mean, they're animated. You can really, because they're the cartoon look, but the look of this movie, I never even thought about it because of how good the movie was.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched that, and I was pretty excited about it. Since my son fell asleep about a half hour in, the next day we watched it again, so he could watch the whole thing. So I was pretty pumped about watching it again.
Nice.
It was good, really good movie.
Awesome.
Do you have a rating for it? Out of 10?
I would give it 10 out of 10 spider webs.
10 out of 10. All right.
Yeah. So I think it was someday last week I was having lunch with Ronnie, and he had said that he had watched this movie Bohemian Rhapsody.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought to myself, maybe I should watch this movie. So I knew I'm not like Marc. I'm not like a music man. I know nothing about Queen. All I know is their songs and Freddie Mercury. I don't know who the guitarist is, anybody else in the band. I don't know what the story was behind them. All I knew is their songs, all their hits. So I started the movie up, and as the credits are rolling, the beginning credits, I just hear the Queen song starts playing, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm already in love with this movie. And it goes through the story of Freddie Mercury, how he started with Queen, how they wrote songs, how they collaborated with each other, how he, spoilers, died. And I knew he died, but I didn't know how he died. Since, I didn't follow him. I didn't really know much about him.
I'm gonna make sure to make a little note here to make sure you insert that
Spoiler
alert.
The spoiler alert in there. I mean, come on, man, yeah. You're giving that's a pretty big spoiler.
He's been dead for like 30 years, so I think we're good. I don't know. On that one,
you might have to insert that in.
He's dead.
Edit that in.
Freddie Mercury has passed away.
Now, just every time you say that, you're gonna have to insert the sound. So what's it gonna do to the quality of the podcast?
He said it again.
But yeah, throughout the whole movie, they're playing all their big hits, and it was awesome. The guy who played Freddie Mercury, I can't remember his name, some Malik or something.
Rami Malek.
Yeah, he was fantastic. When I had heard that he was cast into being Freddie Mercury, I had my doubts. But after watching the movie, I'm like, man, he was fantastic. And I had heard that the movie didn't follow a lot of what Queen and how they became Queen and all the songs they wrote and so like that. But so I read up I did a little fact check, and I looked at all the differences between the movie and what really happened in real life, and they were small. It didn't detract away from how much fun this movie was, how good this movie was. So I really enjoyed this one.
Cool.
Ronnie, what you saw it? What did you think about it?
I actually thought it was incredible, and I'm like you. I didn't know anything about Queen. I knew their lead singer was Freddie Mercury, and that is exactly where it ended. I just knew all their songs. But it was awesome. It really was awesome. We do every couple of weeks, we'll do a movie night, just me and a couple of friends, and they always pick the movies. And typically they always pick horror movies, which I dislike. And
Yeah.
this time they picked that. And after the movie was over, I was like, I'm glad you guys finally picked a good one. Like, it was really awesome. I actually have it. I rented it like on my TV, so I have it for 30 days. And before the 30 days is up, I'm definitely gonna watch it again.
Sweet.
You would
Awesome.
you would watch a movie twice before watching another movie that will may or may not come up during your update.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, right.
So
Nice.
I had posted that I had watched Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and Bohemian Rhapsody, and then Jared Orr, he's like, well, let's keep up with the 10 out of 10s. Oh, let's back up. I would give
Spoiler alert,
10,
you just gave away your review before giving your review.
10 out of 10
Overbites.
Queens.
Permed hairs.
Yeah.
Queens.
So
Okay.
I had posted that. I thought that was another 10 out of 10.
Nice.
And he was like, you need to go see Mission Impossible Fallout. And I enjoy the Fallout movie or the Mission Impossible movies. I mean, they're good action flicks. So I was like, okay.
Wait, is Fallout the one where
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
okay,
All right.
now I've given away all the spoilers. You may continue.
Okay. So, and it's just like any other Mission Impossible movie, you know, but it starts off and he makes a choice. And the choice pretty much causes the rest of the movie to occur. Everything that happens after his choice is the movie. And it's unlike any other Mission Impossible. There is a ton of twists and turns that you don't see coming. And it was action packed. It was action almost every scene, if not every other scene. It was awesome. There was fight scenes, car chase scenes, bike scenes. It was awesome. And if I had to score this one, I would say it's also 10 out of 10.
Wow, 10 out of 10. What?
Tom Cruise's.
Tom Cruise's.
I'll have to.
Did you clone
I'll
him? How does that work? You clone Tom Cruise?
He already has clones of himself.
At least do like 10 out of 10 Scientologist or something like. Just to give variety.
Yeah, so I watched 3 movies this past week.
All 10 out of 10s. Wow.
3 10 out of 10s. Yeah, they were. It was an unbelievable movie week for me.
I'm gonna have
And
to. Oops, sorry.
go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm gonna have to catch Mission Impossible Fallout. I've been meaning to watch it, and that movie I've only known of its existence for a few reasons. I guess obviously one being Mission Impossible and Tom Cruise, but also they have to do with Henry Cavill, just because he's in the movie. And number one, that movie is the reason why they had that huge issue with Justice League with his mustache.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's the one where his mustache just appears out of nowhere during the
Yes.
fighting scene in the bathroom. Does that actually
Yes.
happen when you watch the movie?
Well,
Oh,
not
I
exactly
didn't
like
catch it.
not exactly like that. No.
Oh, okay. Because that was awesome. That's an awesome GIF.
Yeah.
Or a little short
It
video.
is.
But no, like obviously the mustache issue, but also that same movie is where Henry Cavill. There's like that scene that you always see in all the trailers in the bathroom
Uh-huh.
where he like cocks his arms, his biceps, like he's loading a gun
Yeah.
when he's about to. It looks hilarious and awesome at the same time.
It is. That scene was awesome.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the action scenes in there are awesome, but that one in particular was a cool one because it was a fist fight, so it was pretty cool.
Cool.
So I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. Other than that, I did a little resolution
Mm-hmm.
working on.
Ooh.
I worked on my resolution.
About time.
And one of my resolutions was to watch or go to a seminar, learn something about designing. And I watched about 4 hours on YouTube of intros to making a design, whether that be a logo, something on a t-shirt, anything that has to do with design. And these YouTubes had to do with how-tos, how to design something quickly, how to it's a lot, all the how-tos. And it shows you, and one of them showed you designing something from beginning to end, all the cuts, all the changes, color, whatever it was. I watched one of those videos. One of the other videos was how to use different programs like Photoshop and this other free software called GIMP. It's kind of like Photoshop, but it's free. So I started using GIMP alongside while I was watching the YouTube video, so I could get my feet wet a little bit on that one. And so I did all that, and there was a reason why I did all that this past week, because there was a company, an organization that had reached out to me to create something for them. And the reason why is they've seen the stuff that I have created. So they had reached out to me and asked for me to make a logo for them. So I made a logo. I thought it was pretty good. It might have been some of my best work. I think it was, only because I started doing things that I've never done before and learned new tricks of the trade kind of thing. So I created that and I submitted it. Whether or not I get any response or any feedback, I don't know how that all works. If it's just thrown into a pool of 100 other individuals, I don't know. But it was kind of fun to actually create something from scratch with this logo. So once I hit submit, I kind of felt happy that I actually did something with my designing this year.
That's awesome, man. Way to put yourself out there and kind of put into practice what you're learning and what you've been practicing.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So that was fun. Since I watched movies and I did that, I didn't do much gaming. I played a little Apex and Overwatch, and I'm still doing Red Dead Online, but I think I'm gonna take a step back from Red Dead Online.
How many trophies do you have left?
I still have 5.
Ooh.
I think I have 4 online and 1 story. So it's gonna be like a more of a grind, and I'm not really feeling that right now. So I'm gonna put that on the back burner, and I'm gonna play some other games. I'm gonna play Overwatch and continue to play Apex.
Yeah, baby.
Maybe I'll get back into the platinum chase, and I'll start getting some more platinums, because I think I have 8 so far. I need to get 4 more.
I think you have
this year.
You have 9, don't you?
Do I have 9?
I think so.
Okay.
We could fact check you.
I don't know. I need to go look back, but yeah,
pretty sure.
I think I'm gonna go and get a couple more there before I jump back into Red Dead. But yeah, that's me.
Sweet.
This past week.
Ronnie, how about you, buddy?
So I obviously watched Bohemian Rhapsody also, and like Patrick, thought it was awesome. If you are into music or just like Queen, definitely a 10 out of 10 movie to watch. I also played in a volleyball tournament this past weekend. I think I might have mentioned this last week.
You did,
but it's the first like men's doubles that I've ever played, and I played with my buddy Chad.
This is your semi-professional game, right?
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. So I will tell you that I also play 3 volleyball leagues on Friday nights, and for this tournament, I had to be there at 8 a.m. on Saturday morning.
Ooh.
And
Fun times.
After volleyball, which, we go to volleyball and we have a few drinks and everything usually. Went a little too hard on the paint on Friday night and went to bed at about 3:30 a.m.
Oh, no.
Yikes.
So when I woke up at 6:30 to start getting ready and get going to this tournament, I was not in the best shape of my life, that's for sure.
I bet.
Dude, didn't you just tell us last week how much you were feeling it and not able to recover as quickly from between games?
That's exactly what I was saying, and I experienced every bit of that on Saturday morning. So the funny part was my buddy was feeling the same way. So he was feeling bad. He plays volleyball on Friday nights too. So we're driving to this tournament. It's early, and we're both a mess, basically. So it's we don't really have any expectations of really even playing good. I assumed I would play horrible. And what actually happened was we won because we both played awesome all day.
Are you serious?
Nice.
I'm dead serious.
Dude, that is awesome.
Yeah, I'm dead serious. We played awesome, like almost the whole day, and we both felt like total crap going.
Wow.
So what I learned is,
Congrats.
when you make bad choices like that, there are no consequences.
Oh, no.
Don't think the law of averages is going to agree
That's
with
what
you.
I took away from the story.
Jeez.
So that's the formula for success.
That's
Yes.
exactly right. 3 solid hours of sleep.
Only
all you need.
Only good things come from 3 solid hours of sleep.
That's exactly right.
That's your title for your book right there. 3 solid hours of sleep.
That's true. That's true.
Wow.
But no, that was really fun winning. Like, we won a little bit of money and everything, and it's the first time I'd ever like played just doubles with him. So yeah, we did really well. We did really well.
Awesome.
Nice.
So for that tournament, we won $320 as a team. So we had to split that, but it was pretty nice going home with a little bit of money when normally all we do is spend money there. So it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, definitely.
So then the money that I won went directly into my hot tub, which broke for like the 3rd or 4th time in 1 year.
Oh, no.
Oh my
Jeez.
gosh.
It went. It does this thing where it goes into economy mode, which basically means that it doesn't work, and it just keeps the water level like above freezing.
Oh, jeez.
And yeah, so I called them, and it's like $150 for them to come out to your house, right? That's the whole diagnostic service charge. So you're at $150 no matter what. What it ended up being was like the main fuse in the hot tub, which totally emasculated me. That it was just a fuse, and I just paid $180 for it when I could have just paid like probably $10.
Oh, man.
But since I don't know anything about hot tubs, like, yeah, that's kind of the price you pay.
Yeah, it is.
That's why those guys have jobs.
So next time,
so
are
yeah.
you?
How long did it take for him to fix it?
I would say about 20 minutes.
Nice.
And at least it's 20 minutes because you got to take off like the panels and stuff on the outside, and I don't know, move stuff around.
So how
Plus, it was out. It was in the snow, so I mean, I was like, yeah, I wouldn't want to do that anyways for $180.
That's true. How tempted are you to look it up on YouTube next time?
I thought about looking it up today, and I'm kind of nervous because I guarantee it's just like take one panel off, and then like the master fuse is like right there, and you just probably pull it out and just plug in another fuse. So I'm gonna be like, dang it. But what I will say is I did read a ton online about like hot tubs just going into economy mode, and not a single one of them mentioned a fuse. Like they mentioned ways to get it out of economy mode and like tricks and stuff you could use, but nobody ever mentioned fuse, or I just would have looked up how to replace one.
Which would have been a lot of money probably also.
So there are consequences for only 3 hours of sleep is what I'm saying.
Yeah. True that.
Giveth and he taketh. But that's all for me for the week. How about you, Mark?
Oh, so this week has been a week indeed. So it would have been a nice week had it not been for the fact that Thursday night, either Wednesday or Thursday night, I started feeling sick. I started coming down with some sort of a cold, head cold of some kind, and it just started getting worse and worse and worse with all the head congestion and throat and all that fun stuff. And so Friday I ended up staying home from work because I just felt awful, and it just continued to just spiral and spiral. And so basically a lot of my week, if I wasn't working, was usually spent on the couch. So because I was just feeling horrible the whole time. So, and I'm still kind of recovering from that.
Yeah, you got a nice baritone voice going. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This is deep, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going on the low end tonight. But yeah, so a lot of my time, like I said, was spent on the couch. And I was just completely miserable because Saturday evening into Sunday, I got a fever, which was awesome.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I just felt like a zombie the whole time. But the times where I was feeling a little bit okay or whatever, I was pretty much gaming.
There you go.
So,
the perks of being sick,
yeah.
getting that couch time in.
Yep, for sure. I was just about done with the couch time by the time it was all said and done. But so definitely put in some work on Apex for sure. A lot of hours of Apex.
You got some chicken dinners?
I did get a couple. Definitely, like there was one, I think Friday night. It was like the first game I jumped in with a couple of randos, and we won first time through.
Nice.
Which was awesome. And then I believe it was I think it was Saturday night. Saturday night I played with Chris McCracken of Married to the Games, and we got a win that night, which was awesome. So yeah, played plenty of Apex. Still loving that game. Since I was home on. Go ahead.
Whenever I hear the word Apex, do you guys remember those DVD screensavers back in the day where I had an Apex DVD player?
Yes.
And when that screensaver came on, it would just like
And it
that
floats
screensaver,
around, right?
Apex would just float around,
Yeah.
and you would wait for it to get to the corner.
Yeah. Have you seen that video where they show a bunch of people in a bar, like watching a sports, like they're watching some kind of sports, but they switched it out in the video for the Apex, like, or DVD, CD icon it, and when it like changes color or hits a part, everybody's like, yeah, woo! I love that video. Yeah, I totally forgot there was an Apex one though. I always think of the DVD, or I think it's the DVD one that I always think of. But yes.
Yeah, it says DVD video. I think that was like the most one, but I had like those cheap $20 DVD or the Apex DVD players.
And it said Apex.
And it said Apex instead of DVD.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, that was actually the first DVD player I ever had was an Apex. But anyway, so yeah, played plenty of Apex, and also decided to finally break open the seal and download Red Dead 2. So I started playing that.
Nice.
Friday night. I know I've heard it from many people that it's kind of a slow burn to start. And
it sure is.
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling that. I feel like I'm in the most beautiful walking sim I've ever played. It's just a lot of traversing. And so obviously I'm not giving up on it. It was just kind of slow to start, and I think the fact that I was sick wasn't really helping the situation.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely gonna pick it back up later. And then since I was home on Friday, of course, Mr. Ed Placencia has his No Work Fridays that he streams whatever game he wants to play. And so happened to jump in and play some Overwatch for a little bit. So that was awesome. Had a great time with him. But yeah, otherwise that was pretty much my entire most of the weekend. Like Sunday, I woke up, I still had a fever. And of course, if you've listened to the podcast, you know that, I'm a worship leader. And so obviously I'm waking up feeling like death warmed over, and I text my pastor. I said, listen, this is what happened. This is what's happening. I didn't get any sleep last night. I've got a fever, all that kind of stuff. And he says, okay, so we're going to cancel your Sunday school class, because I teach Sunday school, and cancel youth group. And he said, I will sing and I will lead if you can just come up and play. And I was like, okay, do I really feel like going? No, but it's only for an hour. Now, granted, it's like an hour drive there and back.
Oh, yeah.
So, but I did it, and because I wanted to, make sure that things weren't too crazy for them. So, and they were super, hospitable and just ready to serve. Like, I walk in the door and my pastor has a cup of hot tea ready for me.
Oh,
yeah,
isn't that sweet?
And like one of the ladies in the church, she does a lot of stuff with essential oils and stuff like that.
She gave you a massage?
No.
I don't think it's rubbing oils, Patrick.
That's a host right there.
Yeah.
That is not what happened at all.
He's like playing the guitar on the stage, and she's like rubbing his back in the background with essential oils. This isn't awkward at all.
Nope, not at all.
Oh, jeez.
No. So she had this like little like essential oil thing. And she dabbed like a little bit on my hand. She's like, "Okay, rub your hands, and then slowly breathe it in and out." And basically it's supposed to help with congestion and all that kind of stuff. So and it was great. So, but like bunches of people were like just trying to serve, and so I was very thankful to have a church that's like that, to have a lot of servants.
Did that stuff work, like with your congestion?
I mean, it helped me feel better, I guess. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
This episode is brought to you by Essential Oils, where you can have your cares massaged away or your congestion melted away.
Wow. But
call now. 429-GMG, guys.
Call today and get double the regular order.
Put in the what is it, the code box or whatever's the sale box, put GMG guys and you'll get 100% off. You'll get it free.
And you don't have to send it back. But yeah, so it helped, except for the fact that I totally burned my tongue on the tea, but whatever.
I thought you were going to say you burnt your tongue on the essential oils.
Yeah, that too.
I forgot it was there and I licked my hand and it started to burn.
Oh yeah, breathe in and out slowly. Ah.
It's not working. I should lick it.
That's not how you breathe, Mark. So you got me coughing now. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, but I was very thankful for that. But yeah, I went up there and played, and then came back and immediately crashed. Finally last night, my fever came down, temperature came back down. So I went back to work today. But it's been a pretty slow week for me because of it. So I'm ready to not be sick anymore. So
well, I'm glad you're feeling better.
No doubt.
Yeah.
I'm glad you could join us tonight.
On my way back up. For sure.
Moving on up.
Moving on up.
All right, brother. Well, is that all you got for us? Do you have
That's all I got for my week.
All right. Well, glad you're on the mend, brother. On my end, my life update, I wanted to take a few minutes to first of all give our listeners a peek behind the curtain of the missionary life. For those that don't know, I'm a volunteer missionary in Brazil. I've been here for about 7 years. Over the past year or so, I've been a coordinator for a ministry called Work and Witness. And about a year and 3 months ago, the church leadership here for the Church of the Nazarene here in Brazil asked me to be the national coordinator. And I was not the first coordinator, but they asked me to lead the ministry, but I was the only coordinator for the entire nation of Brazil. And if you don't know, the nation of Brazil is the same size of the U.S. if you take away Alaska. So they said,
"Whoa!" They
said, "You're in charge of the whole country." And I'm like, "Great!
Whoa!
Who's here to help me?" And they're like, "We're here, maybe." But it was very much it was really a big job. And so for the past year, I've been kind of doing a mixture of things as a missionary, as a coordinator for missions. I try to do the things that I do, I try to do them for the present, but I also have been trying to build up for the future and to kind of build this structure for this ministry so that I'm not the only coordinator and I'm not the only one kind of doing this. Because like I said, the country's huge. It's a pretty large task to be a coordinator for an entire country and for the Church of the Nazarene. I mean, it's not the biggest church in the country. The Catholic Church is really big here, the Baptist Church, the Assemblies of God. But the Church of the Nazarene is pretty large and all across the country. But this past week, I was finally able to connect with some of the superintendents. Actually, I connected with all of them. There are about 20 superintendents all across the country. And I was finally able to kind of get all my ducks in a row and talk to them, talk to the mission coordinators for each of those districts. And I pretty much said, hey, who do you think should be the work and witness coordinator for your district? And some of them were like, cool, we'll pray about it and we'll get back to you. Some of them, had some doubts, some questions. Some were like, do we really need this coordinator? Like, I had a wide variety of responses, and I definitely had a one guy who was just pretty much like, whether we have this coordinator or not, just so you know, I'm in charge, and he's going to do whatever I want, pretty much is what he said. I'm like, okay.
Wow. Okay.
And not long after I did this, I contacted these 20 guys, and probably 3 or 4 hours after I finally finished contacting them all, and they started kind of conversing with me back and forth, my boss, who is the ministry strategist for the country, told us, hey guys, just so you know, I needed to make sure you understood, you shouldn't directly contact the superintendents, the 20 superintendents. And I'm like, what? And so I just realized that the past couple days, as I had been preparing things and then finally contacting them all, they actually didn't want me to do that. They wanted me to work through our ministry strategist and kind of work directly with the superintendents that way. So I immediately contacted my ministry strategist, my kind of like my boss, our mentor for all the national coordinators, and was like, look, so here's what I did. Here's what I told them. Here have been some of the responses. And thankfully, he was very, very, very forgiving. He was just like, hey, don't worry about it. What you wrote was very clear, concise. If there's anybody that has any doubts, you just let me know and I'll take care of it. And so the few guys that gave me a little flack, that kind of resisted wanting to choose coordinators, I was able to kind of pass them on to the ministry strategist, and he said he'll take care of it. So it really worked out, but it got hairy for a little bit. Like, I was kind of like, I spent a couple hours just kind of like, not backtracking, but once I found out I wasn't supposed to directly contact these superintendents, I was like walking on eggshells with some of them because I didn't really want to ruffle any feathers. Obviously, I am an American. They are Brazilian. I don't want to come across as like telling them what to do or being like, look, I'm an American. I can, I wanted to be tactful in what I was doing, and I wanted to help them understand that I was not trying to tell them what to do. I was wanting to partner with them and make these decisions together. So overall, it worked out, but it definitely made the week interesting for work. Other than that, in terms of family life, my mother and father-in-law came from northern Brazil. They had been there for the past month and a half doing some ministry there, and they returned on Friday, and they've been with us over the weekend, and they're headed back out tomorrow to the U.S. for a few months, and then I think they'll be returning again to continue their ministry up in the northeastern part of Brazil. And so that's been a good time for us to catch up with them, find out what's been going on. My kids, of course, love their grandparents, not just because of the fact that they're family, but because, of course, my in-laws spoil them to death. They bought my son a bike. They every chance they get, they're typical grandparents. Whatever we say is against the rules. Every other time they're like, it's okay, just one more chocolate or one more of this, one more of that. They're like, you know what? We were parents once and we had all our rules and stuff, but we're grandparents now. So, we're just going to we're sometimes going to do what we're going to do. And I'm like, it's cool. You've earned the right, and you don't get to see them, that much. So that's been a good time with them. With my wife, I got to have a date night. We went out to Outback, and unfortunately, I was not able to try that marshmallow and strawberry hamburger. It was already gone. But let me tell you, I was ready to check it out. So that
what a bummer.
So that I could I wanted to give my review on the podcast, but instead I suffered and I got ribs, and they were good. And I got
oh no,
got ribs.
Oh, bleeding hearts.
Yeah, I got that mac and cheese. I'd never had their mac and cheese there. They got that's got a little bit of a kick to it. It's good. Now one thing that wasn't good, I didn't know it had a kick to it, and neither did my wife, and she's mildly allergic to paprika and other spicy things. Oops. And so I gave her a bite first, and she was like, and then she's like, oh, what? She started clearing her throat like, what's in this? And I'm like, I don't know, it's mac and cheese. And so I took a bite, and I was like, oh, that's got a little spice to it. I'm sorry. So she drank like most of her water just to recover from that. But it was a nice date night. We had a good time together, and other than beyond the date night, did a little bit of gaming this past week, maybe a lot of bit of gaming. I've continued in Fallout 76. I've been continuing exploring that digital West Virginia. Have you guys ever played a Fallout game before? I've mentioned it a couple times, but I'm not sure. So
I have attempted to.
What'd you say, Mark?
I said I have attempted to, but it just wasn't my thing.
I gotcha. I can see that. It's it can be, like it can be tough sometimes, and for multiple different reasons. But for me, I don't know what it is about Fallout. It's the same thing with Skyrim. Most of Bethesda's games, they speak to me, and I get lost in their worlds, and I find myself like I'm spending hours like doing the most mundane tasks that when I explain them are so boring, like modifying weapons, exploring a house and picking up every single item in the house, cans, paper, pieces of trash, and then you use it to recycle it, quote unquote, and use it to build things and material. It really is not that exciting of a game.
It doesn't sound like it.
No. And what's funny is some of the older games you couldn't even do that back in the day. It was much more limiting, but I just enjoy it. But with the game, when you start out,
what do you do with those cans?
So
and that paper.
You use it pretty much to modify your weapons. Sometimes you have to repair your weapons or your armor because it'll break. You can build your own forts.
So you repair your armor with paper?
Yeah, that's how it's going to be in the apocalypse, my friend. When the atomic bombs go off, when the zombies come, when the outbreak happens.
I got level 4 paper mache armor.
That is correct, and you'll probably die first. But no, with that game, like when you start out, you're almost just running around. It's not literally like this, but you're running around naked. Like you're so defenseless. You're not actually naked, but
okay,
yeah,
good.
It's not that kind of game. But you're running around and you're very weak. Like it feels like you can die very easily. I was very fortunate to have our buddy Sheldor, Jonathan, who was with me a lot of the way, and he and King helped me out a lot those first 5-10 levels. But most of the time I've been playing by myself, and it's gotten pretty difficult at times. But this past week I finally did a mission where I could get power armor. Now power armor is kind of like a mixture between like it's pretty much just this large suit that is like, it's not robot armor, but it just makes you very tough to kill, and it makes you look pretty cool, and it gives you the armor you need to fight some of the bigger bad guys and that kind of stuff. But I finally got a set of that through a mission that I went with Sheldor on. He's a much higher level. He's like level 70. I'm level 15, 16. But when he went with me on this mission, when I got to the end, I got the power armor, and it, for whatever reason, it paid more attention to his level than my level, so the armor was level 45.
Were you able to put it on?
Ooh.
No, because
no,
I was level 16. And I didn't realize that him being in my party would affect the level of my reward. Like, I got it as a reward, the power armor. You're supposed to get it in the story because the missions after that get harder, and you need the power armor for protection. And so I get this power armor, and all of it, like, if it's not highlighted, it means you can't use it yet. It means none of it was highlighted. And I was like, Sheldor, I just got power armor that I can't use for another 30 levels. And he's like, are you serious? I'm like, yes.
Oh, no. Can you break that down?
I mean, you can, but you get little to nothing for it. Like, you get a few scraps of steel and, like, things you can use, but it actually, when I hit level 45, it'll be useful. So I put it in my stash, and for the next 3 or 4 hours over the next couple days, I looked up on YouTube and on Google. I Googled locations that spawn power armor, and I proceeded to loop through those 5 or 6 locations until I got a full set of power armor, because there was no way I could go to the next mission and survive. And so I had to use up the next 3 or 4 hours to I sabotaged myself by having Sheldor help me. But once I did that, once I got the power armor, I was able to take down some big guys like Deathclaws. I know you guys haven't played the game, but for those that have played the game, Deathclaws are some of the worst bad guys you can fight. I had a real fun time. I posted a video this past week fighting a Deathclaw where I used the things are huge, and they throw rocks at you. They melee attack you like pretty hardcore. But I was able to get between one and like a median concrete wall like you'd find on a road. And these Deathclaws are not able to jump. So when you get on the other side, they won't climb over this short concrete wall. They have to go around it. And so when it would go around, I would jump to the other side of the concrete wall and shoot at it. And it would get confused and then go and walk around this wall to the other side. And by the time it walked around, I jumped back to the side I was on before. And I proceeded to do this for the next 5 minutes until I killed it. And so I completely outsmarted Deathclaw. It made me feel special because I did it all by myself. I was a big boy in Fallout, and it was fun.
Nice.
Mommy, wow.
Dun, 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 dun. I killed a Deathclaw now. Doom, doom. Beyond that, my new best friend in gaming, or my new additional best friend in gaming, Super Chad freaking Fackler, he bought me Overwatch out of the blue, just like Patrick did with Fallout 76. It happened after, I guess he listened to the most recent podcast, or last week's podcast, episode 25, during our mega updates. During that time, I mentioned how I wanted to get into multiplayer in March, and that someday I was going to play Overwatch with our community in the MTTG community as well, since it has already felt like 99% of every other person on this earth has played that game. And then he sent me a message on Wednesday saying that he wanted to gift me some PSN credit to get Overwatch because it was on sale. And I was like, are you serious, dude? And he was like, I'm serious, dude. And so he bought it for me. And I'm humbled by his generosity, by doing that for me. And so in the month of February, I got 2 free games from 2 brothers in Christ, brothers in gaming, Patrick and Chad Fackler. Thank you so much. And I want to add on the side to this that at no time in the times that I was mentioning that I wanted to play these games was I trying to insinuate that I wanted anyone to buy this. So know that in the future, there's no pressure for anyone to buy me anything. I'm very humbled by it, but please don't ever feel obligated to buy this poor little missionary video games. But I appreciate the sentiment. I appreciate the help. That was awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I appreciate it. So I got to
Good
finally...
on you, Chad.
Yeah, Chad. I finally got to break that out on Friday. I did the tutorial, did some skirmishes, got the feel for the gameplay, the characters, all that good stuff. And then on Saturday, my bro Jared Orr said, hey man, let's play some Overwatch. And then eventually our MTTG and foot in the door brother, Ed Placencia, joined me to play some Overwatch. One, it was so great to finally chat with Ed. I think the only other time I've talked to him, like with voices, not on Twitch where I type and he talks, was at 300. I think I talked to him for like 10 seconds when the phone was getting passed around. But it was great to finally talk with him. And of course, to talk with Jared Orr. I played Anthem with him when that was a demo. But beyond that, with Overwatch, while I was playing with those guys, a light switch flipped. How does that work? A light flip switched? I don't know how that.
Flip the switch on that.
Wait, do you switch the flip or flip the switch? Wait, it's got to be your bull.
Yes.
I don't remember. Anyways, a light switch in my head.
Goetta.
A light switch in my head flipped, and I am all in on Overwatch.
Yes.
I am like, I've been thinking about it, and since Saturday, I haven't been able to play, so I've been like jonesing to play some Overwatch. The array of characters, the abilities you have, the more arcade feel of the gunplay and mechanics and the matches, I love it. There were actually a few rounds and a few matches we did where I held my own, and I felt like this noob because I was just like talking to Jared. I'm like, Jared, I'm winning. I'm killing people, and so wait, I'm dead. Never mind. And like that. I went on that loop for a while where I would do really good and then I'd do really terrible. And especially
Just ride the wave.
Yeah, I'm just riding the wave. It was just such a good time, and I'm not gonna commit to it. But right now, I'm feeling so good about the game that I'm really considering getting the plat for it, like to keep it in mind, and then maybe get that someday. But we'll see. I don't know. I've looked through some of the trophies, and I'm like, oh, geez, some of those trophies are ridiculous.
You're gonna have to play that like every day for the next 2 years to get that.
Okay, maybe not then. Well, it's fun, guys. Never going to play that again. So, no, but I'm really looking forward to, I think even more now, especially talking to you guys, I'm looking forward to playing with Patrick and Marc because I know you guys have played and play that game. So we definitely need to play some Overwatch. And maybe even Ronnie could just accidentally buy himself a PS4, since he has money to throw around for fuses and all this work to be done on a hot tub, you might as well just buy yourself a PS4, wink, wink, and
just win a couple more volleyball tournaments.
There you go.
Doesn't it seem like the wrong time to buy the game?
Come on,
since I just had to pay $180.
You're living that.
It's the right time.
You're living that bachelor life.
There's no wrong time.
Lots of people have both systems. You can do it.
It's Sonos, man.
Oh, geez. Anyways,
so Lucas, I know you've only played like a few times, but is there a particular character that you feel yourself gravitating towards, one that you could call your main?
That's a great question. I think I already have two characters that I like in particular. One character kind of feels like my fallback when I'm frustrated, and I'm like, because some of these characters, their moves are complicated to remember, complicated to use in the right moment. But the character that I really like that kind of feels like a good fallback is Bastion.
Nice.
He's got the turret. He's got a higher level of HP, and I know that he's kind of a target. I've heard Patrick mention that he can be kind of a target when people see Bastion, they go right at him because they know he's pretty tough. But his moveset is just so simple. He's got the 3 forms. He just controls easily. I like him. But the one that I really like is is it Orisa? Or
Orisa?
Is that
Orisa,
that the large robot doll face looking one that
can throw down a shield?
Yes, throws down that green orb that sucks people, disrupts their attack.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually liked her. That was the one that I kind of felt like I probably used half of the characters. I just started at the very beginning of the tanks and just started working my way to the right every round I played. And so out of all of those, I enjoyed her the most, just because I felt like she was a good mix of offense, tank, and also like interruption. Not so much of a defense, but kind of like a way to interrupt people when they're doing their attacks and such. So
nice,
awesome. Yeah. With that being said, that's all I have in terms of updates. I think it's time we jumped into our topic, fellas.
Let's do it.
Alrighty then, here we are. Topic of the day, we are talking about pet peeves. Pet peeves. This is actually a continuation from our uncomfortable / would you rather episode number 19 about 6 episodes ago. Also, this was a suggestion by Travis Popsicle, but I think originally this topic was in the making and inspired by Ronnie's bathroom talk during episode 15, all those many moons ago, when we had our first randomness and our first 4-part topic discussion in episode 15. And for me personally, there's a podcast that I listen to called Things Joe Hates. I don't like the word hate, But in the times that I've listened to a few episodes of that show, Things Joe Hates, it's pretty much a show about pet peeves. And he covers an array of topics if you've ever listened to it. If you haven't, I recommend it. They're like 20-minute podcast episodes, so they're kind of handy when you just want to listen to something short and sweet and to the point. But, guys, let's get into our pet peeves. I figure we can kind of do a round robin, just kind of work our way around. We have a variety of pet peeves from the audience, and I'm sure you guys brought some top 3, top 5, 20 honorable mentions.
Top 15.5.
So let's just jump into it, and then whatever kind of jumps out, and you want to comment on, feel free to do so. So who wants to lead the way with their pet peeves?
I will step in.
Do it.
And go first.
Give us a pet peeve, Mark. What drives you crazy? What makes your blood boil?
So,
besides when people interrupt you while you're talking.
Well, I wasn't going to talk about that.
Spoilers.
But, and that's when you put the spoiler alert in there. No, I am the stereotypical, if you will, grammar Nazi. I am all about the spelling and grammar and punctuation and all that type of stuff. And if somebody spells it wrong or puts something in the wrong place, I silently grieve for that person, and edit the thing in my mind.
So you don't say it out loud. You just burn with rage, and then you just be like, okay.
So what really gets is it like the words like there, and there, or
that's a bad one. That's a bad one for
sure. How about irregardless? I love that word.
That's not even a word.
Technically, that is a word.
Really?
But it is not commonly used. Yes.
Irregardless?
Yes, it is a word.
Fake news.
Yeah, I think that's fake news.
Go to the Google. Look it up.
The internet is truth. Yep.
Everything they say.
The Google machine.
No, here's the one that drives me nuts the most. The apostrophe. When using it in the form of for example, the Swishers or the Novosels or whatever. A lot of times I've seen it where they use apostrophe S. So like Novosel apostrophe S. That is not correct. The only time that you use that is to show possession. Not plural, possession. So that drives me nuts every time I see that. So it's like, the Novosel's what? What are we talking about? What belongs to them? So that kind of thing drives me nuts. But yeah, spelling as well. I was a big into spelling. So anytime somebody needs to spell something, they ask me. But that kind of stuff kind of grates on my nerves. But I try not to, call people out on it so much, because that's rude and, people think horribly of you.
But man,
I'm gonna name this title episode 26 Pet Peeves, and I'm gonna throw an A in there.
I thought you were gonna say you were gonna throw an apostrophe in there. Pet peeves,
with
an apostrophe S. Yes.
What belongs to the pet peeve? What?
Please, Patrick.
What are we talking?
I will pay you $1 to do that. Pet peeves apostrophe S. That would be awesome. You know what, Mark? It's funny you bring that up, because my best friend in high school, who's still my best friend to this day, Tom, in high school and college, and just from time to time, I love to correct his grammatical mistakes. He's not as bad at it now, because he's kind of, he's gotten older, he's learned, and those habits die, thankfully, for some people. But man, I remember growing up, anytime I really wanted to make his blood boil, he would usually, when he got mad, his grammar would get worse. So instead of addressing what he's mad about, I would just say, "You're not supposed to say it that way. It's actually YOU''RE or just something like that." And
was this in conversation?
No, this was in text message conversation. So when I say conversation,
did they have cell phones when you went to high school?
No, we had Instant Messenger on AOL. Well, it wasn't even Instant Messenger that time. We had AOL, and we would chat on there. So, yes.
Boom.
We definitely did not have cell phones when I was in high school. Thanks for bringing that up, Ronnie.
You're old.
Speaking of pet
Do you remember-
peeves,
do you
when people
remember
remind me how
MSN
old I
Messenger?
am. What'd you say, Patrick?
Do you remember MSN Messenger?
Oh yeah, I definitely use that too.
I try to forget it.
Yeah, it was no good.
But yeah, that's probably one of my biggest pet peeves is just grammar and spelling.
Gotcha.
So.
Patrick, how about you, buddy? Throw at us a pet peeve.
All right. So when I knew we were going to be talking about pet peeves, I immediately thought about work because there's 1,000 different things
Man,
that
there is.
people at work. And one of the biggest things is I don't know what the real elevator etiquette is, but it is not standing in front of the elevator door when you press a button. When you press a button when you're going up or down, you like stand back because you never know who's going to be getting off the elevator on that floor.
That's true.
So do not stand in front of the elevator door when you're going to get on.
There should be a pause.
Because it's like if they come on the elevator while I'm on the elevator and I'm trying to get off, it's like, no, I have the right of way.
That's true.
Right?
True story.
I did not see the owner's manual on elevator etiquette.
You are one of those guys.
You're a monster.
Or when they're on the elevator and it opens and they don't look behind them to see and they block the whole exit. Like they block the whole doorway and they don't look to see who needs to leave. Like I've been in an elevator and be like, excuse me, we have people back here that need to leave, and they're like blocking the whole exit to the elevator.
Yeah, it's like look around.
Come on. It's not just
I mean,
you in
I'm
here,
not-
buddy.
I'm not a complete menace to where like I'm like right in front of the elevator.
Elevator menace.
Yeah,
I'm trying to time
Mark
the door.
that,
Banana.
Lucas. That's how you're gonna
Marcy the
enter him
Menace.
next week.
yeah. I'm twiddling my mustache. Yeah.
Mustache twiddling.
No, I don't like stand right in front of the elevator door. Obviously, I give some distance to let people off. I
He
guess.
doesn't breathe on the door.
Let me in. Let me in. Dang it. Let me in.
No, Patrick, I have literally had somebody get onto the elevator before I could get off. Like, because like people refuse. Like, even once they're like, "Oh, there's people there," it's like, nope. They just keep getting onto the elevator. It's like, can I just get off of here before you get on?
I know, it's especially hard when there's multiple people in the elevator. It's like they're trying to get on, and they're going to stand. Like, they turn around and they stand in front of the elevator door, like, oh, there's no one else getting off. Like they're oblivious to everything.
I think you need to
Then
set.
you got to do that shuffling thing where you're like shuffling through a large crowd sideways, like
Oh,
just
yeah.
trying to like sneak out the elevator.
I think you need to set a different standard in your work elevators, and you need to be the aggressor and be like, "Whoa, you need to step off, get off the elevator, let me off, and then you can get on the elevator." You need to.
It's worse when they say hi to you first. It's like, no, get off.
no. Hey, Patrick. No.
No. Let me tell you why.
Let me tell you why. Get off the elevator. I'll tell you, and then you make sure the door closes so they can't catch.
Let me
the
learn
elevator.
you something.
Oh, jeez.
Meet me out in the parking lot, sir.
Ronnie, how about you, man?
All right, so I'll stick with the work one, and mine is so our office has a 4-level parking garage that we can all park on, and people absolutely fly through there like Tokyo Drift style.
There you go. All right.
And people are just like I mean, it's like, man, realistically, you should be going maybe 10 miles an hour in this parking lot. I'm pretty sure people are hitting like 40 and 50 miles an hour.
Jeez.
Like coming down the ramp. It is scary. And it's like, I always want to like fake jump out in front, like act like I'm going to jump out in front of these people just so they have to lock their brakes up and like let them know, hey, yeah, you're in a
Or they
parking
lock
garage.
their brakes off. They turn their wheel and then run into other parked cars.
Exactly
You
right.
guys-
And you're-
Please do that.
Did you guys know Vin Diesel was at work today? What's going on?
Yeah. I'm going to get a sign and I'm going to put it in the parking garage. It's going to say, "You're not Paul Walker. Slow down."
Ooh. Ooh.
It's been a long time.
Day.
Oh, right. It's been a long day. I always want to say it's been a long time. I always screw that up.
It's okay. It's all good.
For me, I was inspired when we first started thinking about pet peeves and doing this topic. I was immediately drawn to Ronnie's original discussion about bathroom etiquette. And actually, I want to say that it wasn't long after he brought up bathroom etiquette back in episode 15 that I encountered some things that very week or the week after. And I was like, man, I've got to talk about this on the podcast the next time we talk about pet peeves and bathroom etiquette.
And here we are.
So let me lay it out for you. When you go to a bathroom, and
Is this a room where you can actually take baths, or just where you go to the restroom?
when you go to a public restroom, yes, you're right. There is a differentiate. We really shouldn't call public bathrooms because there's no bathing.
What are you talking about?
That occurs in these? And if there
The bathtubs
is,
are on the walls.
If there is,
Oh, gross.
gross.
That's where the homeless people wash their face.
If there is bathing, the equipment is not working correctly, which brings up one of my pet peeves is when they do not
my
calibrate
goodness.
the pressure of the sinks, and you turn the handle, and it proceeds to spray a gallon of water all over your body. Actually, usually it's not all over your body. It's in the lower half of your body, and so it looks like you've peed your pants. It gets me every time. Like, I'm just like, why? Just put a warning. Like, if you turn this up, it will spray you with water. That's one of the things. But it's just the overall, like, when things don't work the way they're supposed to. Like, I can't stand when I enter in a bathroom. Dang it. Public restroom. And all of the equipment is sensor driven, like the faucet, the towel dispenser, the toilets, and it doesn't work right. Like, if it's not going to work right, you need to give me a manual option. But when it's all automated and you get to the toilet and you're like sitting there and all of a sudden it flushes while you're still sitting there and you get water all over yourself. When you go to the sink and there's like one little spot where the sensor actually works to give you water, and all the other places you're like moving your hands around like a magician, but you're not doing any magic. There's like no magic happening. I just want to wash my hands. And then you go to the soap dispenser and you're like waving your hand around and it gives you this little drop. And so you have to take your hand out to reinitiate the sensor and then put it back in to get it to give you more. So you're sitting there like bringing your arm back really far, bringing it far back just to get enough soap to make your hands
I would
clean.
love to walk in right behind you and just be like, "What you doing, David Blaine?"
Yeah, like here I am, like, watch me do
Appear
this
now.
magic trick. Here comes the water, go! And I'm the worst magician ever in those kind of bathrooms. But
I
it
could just imagine.
drives me crazy.
go ahead.
No, go ahead. Tell me what you imagine in a public restroom.
I just imagine it'd be dead silent and you in a restroom, and all of a sudden hearing you scream out, 40 psi! Can you people not get this concept?
It's really like that. It's awful. But yeah, when the equipment just doesn't work the way it's supposed to, and when I could probably go on, but those are the worst things. Now, one thing that is very unique to Brazil, I think it's actually unique to every country outside of the U.S., but there are some places where they cut so many corners on the space that in order to get into a restroom stall, you have to straddle the toilet in order to open and close the door. I don't know if you've ever experienced this in the U.S., but this is
No.
very common in the U.S., and it infuriates me because I have to straddle a public toilet in order to open and close the door. It is not acceptable. So
That's way too small.
that is way too small.
I think I've been in like public restrooms where it's like a pretty tight, like, you're kind of backed up to the toilet, but never one where I actually had to straddle the toilet to open the door.
I've been to too many bathrooms here like that.
If getting into the stall looks like a scene from Mission Impossible, then you've got a problem.
Yes. Well, I have a variety of problems here in Brazil, so it's good times. To kind of share some of our community's pet peeves, we're going to jump right in. Our very own mother of three, Melanie Novosel, had this to say.
Oh.
Hey, Mel.
Oh, it'd be awesome if she just wrote Patrick.
Well, she does mention Patrick in this little message.
Make something up. Nope, make something up.
Nope, not going to make it up. She said, she had this to say on Facebook. People who are constantly late when I have to wait on them, and tapping noises or really annoying noises of any kind. I have 3 children, she says in parentheses. Okay.
She says 3?
No, she didn't say 3. I added the 3. But have you guys ever gotten near? Are you guys the late people, or are you guys usually the people waiting on others?
Now, I try to be on time, but if I'm late, it's like a minute or two.
Fair enough.
Or if I'm late, there's a like a big reason for it. I try to be on time, but yeah, I get it. Like if you say, hey, I'm gonna be there at 8:00, and someone doesn't show up until 8:30, then I get kind of annoyed.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Lucas,
I don't know.
That can be really annoying.
Ooh, shots fired.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've never shown up at 8:30 for a podcast.
Or worse, that person could say that they're 5 minutes away, and in reality, it's like 20.
Quote unquote
Lucas.
internet issues. Yeah, okay.
I have no defense. Well, I was going to say because of that, because I am often late for our podcast recordings and just in life in general, I'm like from a family of late people. I am very understanding for those who are late. I will push people and try to encourage people to get going, but when push comes to shove, I'm just going to wait for you. And when you get there and we get where we're going, we'll get there when we're going there, whatever, you know? So
I feel like I'm perpetually late also.
yeah. So, but I appreciate your guys' patience, even if you don't really mean it. And on the inside, you want to rip my face off.
rip you.
I started to say it rip, and I was like, what am I going to say that doesn't sound awful? Rip my face
Rip
off.
you in half like Incredible
What is
Hulk
this,
style.
like Mortal Kombat. You're late.
I will tear you in two.
You're late. Finish him. Zach Auld said, chewing with your mouth open, a dirty house, an unorganized desk, and so many more. I see a theme there. Pretty much uncleanliness, grossness. Zach, my son right now is going through a phase where he is just like when he eats. Regardless of the consistency of what he's eating. I think he drinks some juice and then he just decides to chew it anyways. It's
cow chewing cud.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he sounds like. So, Zach, you would not like my son right now. So
I think I agree with all of those that he had. Like, I don't like a dirty house or like a messy desk. And people like chewing with their mouth open. Like, if you're trying to carry on a conversation with somebody and they are chewing with their mouth wide open, I feel like it's impossible to continue.
Oh, it's the worst when there's like I'm thinking about work and someone is running a meeting and they have gum in their mouth. No.
Yeah.
Throw your gum away. You are running this meeting.
It's taken away from the message.
Quit it.
That is definitely the worst. So round 2, what else do you guys have for pet peeves? Mark, do you want to continue?
All right.
With your next pet peeve?
I say this with full disclosure that I am guilty of this pet peeve. I have done this before, but I generally do not like to do it, and I don't like when other people do it. When you're in a store and you decide that you're not getting a particular item and you don't put it back where it originally came from.
Man.
Yeah. I've done that a couple times.
That drives me nuts, and sadly, I have done it myself. So full disclosure.
You guys should be ashamed of yourselves.
Mark.
Yeah.
Tisk,
Yeah.
tisk.
I'm ashamed of myself, but as a general rule, I do not like it. And a lot of times, like, Kristen and some other friends of mine, like, they know it bothers me, and so they do it on purpose.
Oh, jeez.
Good friends. Good wife.
Yeah.
Good friends.
What love?
And they're like giggling at me the entire time they're doing it. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Now, to me, it's the worst
But-
when it's an item that has nothing to do with the section it's in. So, like,
Oh, for sure.
if it's like a thing of like, I don't know,
These
like something
Pop-Tarts
frozen
go with the hairspray.
yeah, or like frozen meat, and someone's like put it in men's shopping wear or like menswear or something like that.
So
You,
I was
you
in
never
Walmart
seen that,
the other
Patrick?
Putting the prime rib where you get your collared
What's
shirts.
this frozen
Right in the
chicken?
underwear
Are
department.
you? What's this frozen chicken doing with the Wrangler jeans? This is weird.
It all makes sense now. That's perfect. No,
Actually, I need some steak for my jeans.
no. The other day I was in Walmart and I happened to be in the candy aisle, and the middle section had like one of those racks that had like Skittles and stuff on it, like those huge family packs of Skittles. And I look in the box there or whatever, and
You open the box?
well, I didn't open the box. My bad. The rack that it was on.
He's backpedaling, folks. He's backpedaling.
So I looked inside the box and I noticed that there was something that shouldn't have been there. No, I'm just kidding. No, I looked at the rack and I noticed that right next to the bags of Skittles was a 2-pack of Dayquil and NyQuil. And so I took a picture of it and sent it to my wife and I said decisions were made.
Oh, jeez.
But yeah, generally, like I don't like the fact that, like, especially me coming from a custodial background where you're cleaning up after people. Like, I just think about that. Like, somebody has to take that and put it back to where it's supposed to go. So why are you creating more trouble for them by doing that? So, and again, full disclosure, done it myself. Not proud of it.
Fair enough.
I think it's the same thing about putting the carts back, like in the corrals. We're just leaving them right in the parking spot.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Drives me crazy.
That drives me crazy. I'm not guilty of that. I know that every time I've seen that, I've tried to return the carts. That is the worst.
I feel
That's
like I
horrible
grab
on
other
multiple
carts.
fronts.
I've had people let go of their carts, and it hit my car in the parking lot.
Mm-mm.
And it took everything within me not to.
It was probably their parents throwing their cart at you because you hit their kid.
So I have a serious question on the matter. And the question is, when you guys get like a full grocery cart, do you still get a running start and ride it through the parking lot?
On occasion.
Oh, yeah.
That is correct.
That has never left. I still do it.
Yeah. It's even more fun now because my kids love it and my wife
Oh, yeah.
does not.
She rolls her eyes.
Yeah. Because 5 seconds later, I look over and my son's like, "Dad, look!" And he like runs into an aisle or runs into something,
I strategically pack
Everything.
my cart so that it's good for riding on the way out. Make sure I put the heavy stuff in the front.
Oh, how bad is it when you go to a grocery store and they have carts that don't have a place to put your feet so you can ride the cart? Like,
Yeah,
What kind
you
of
find a
carts
new
are those?
That's
store.
a sad day.
that's a sad day. I immediately want to leave that establishment and be like, "No, sir, I'm not returning."
You don't have the proper carts.
Yep. Patrick, what's the next pet peeve you have?
All right, next pet peeve is talking in the movie theater. Now, when the movie is starting, don't talk. When the trailers are going, if people are talking, it's like a little gray area
Yeah.
at that point. But once the movie starts, like don't talk. You know, there's people, you know, that if they need to whisper about a scene to someone else, okay. But if you're like talking at a normal audible level, you should not be doing that
Yeah.
ever.
Amen. Amen.
There was the one time that really sticks out to my mind is if it's a funny movie and you're laughing, then you laugh and it's fine. You know, everyone laughs. You know, that's the time where it's okay to be loud in a movie theater.
Right.
But there was one movie that I had watched back when I was in high school, and there was a lady right behind me, and after every time that it was, if she would have laughed, I would have been okay. But every time there was a funny part, she would wait for everyone to be done laughing and then say, "That's hilarious." I'm like, what in the world?
She's just bringing it home. That's all that was.
Comedy, little joke. Everyone laughs, and then everyone's quiet, and then says, "That's hilarious." Ugh.
So-
Man.
Jeez.
For those unable to see at home, I'm currently putting my hand up so that Patrick can slap it because I am guilty of this.
Oh, Marcus.
Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes like when I'm around my friends and stuff, I get a little Mystery Science Theater 3000 with the movies.
Oh, jeez.
Where we'll like poke fun at the movie, and then my wife generally is the one that tells me to shut up.
This podcast is definitely going to be called Pet Peeves with Imposter.
Yes.
And speaking of movies and my wife, I'll touch on that subject later, but I have an honorable mention from her.
Fair enough. Ronnie, what do you got, buddy?
I can't believe you, Mark. I cannot believe you're one of those people that talk during movies.
It's not all the time. It's just when I'm around friends that I haven't seen in a while, and we're just laughing it up and kind of stuff, and we're just like in the mood for it. Eventually we calm down, but
you chatty Cathys are despicable.
They are. Patrick, I did want to ask real quick, how does that affect home movie watching? What is your tolerance level of talking?
It's different because you have the ability to pause and rewind. It gets frustrating, but I mean, I have 2 kids, and if we're watching a movie and they want to talk, I mean, like I can't stop that.
The
ability to pause and rewind is fine.
You're like in the elevator, and you're just look at them, and you're like, no.
Just watch the movie.
Watch the movie. I will say that.
What happens in the end? I don't know. Watch the
movie.
movie.
That's the worst. If my kids are talking, and then my daughter's like, "What happened?" and I'm like, "You should have watched the movie." But I also do not like that. Especially, it's one thing to make comments and talk like Marc talked about, like Mystery Science Theater 3000. But there's been a couple occasions where I've watched movies, like serious movies. I remember one time watching The Passion of the Christ with a group of young people, and there was a couple that weren't dating, but they were a thing, and at least the first half of the movie, they were like whispering back and forth to each other during the movie.
And
I just wanted to be like, I wanted to pause it and
That's
be like,
awful.
listen here, this is not the time to whisper. This is the time to pay attention to the Passion of the Christ.
No, so was the whispering like you couldn't hear the whispering, or did you
could hear it? Yeah, I could hear it. So I had to look over at them, and I could hear them. Oh, it was. I did not.
No,
I did not like that. So I'm with you. All right, Ronnie. What else you got for us?
All right. So one of my pet peeves here at my house is all the coupon newspapers that I get throughout the week. I feel like I get bombarded with these.
Oh, yeah.
They're so annoying. And I never use coupons. Like, I'm never going to go through this entire book and look for coupons that I would use. Like, I feel like I have to throw them right in the garbage. It's like, you can't really unsubscribe from them because they're just throwing them out at everybody's house.
Yep. That's the worst. We have that here, too.
I'll tell you what, Ronnie. My wife is a coupon clipper.
All right.
We use coupons all the time. So if you want to use them, you can just ship them my way.
Boom.
Use the coupons?
All the coupons.
I mean, am I going to have to pay shipping?
Just bring them to work.
You work together. Come on.
Pile
Such
up
a
the
hassle.
Ship the coupons. Yeah.
Such a hassle.
Such a hassle, this sounds like.
Let me put the old stamp on that and send it off.
Do you want the ones that are soaking wet because it rained also? I'm going to put
heck
those in
no.
like another bag?
Put them right in front of the fireplace, and then I'll take them a day later.
There you go.
And none of this has ever happened.
Ronnie has a fireplace? That's awesome.
I do have a fireplace.
With a bearskin rug?
There is a rug, but it's not a bearskin rug.
Oh.
It's a
all right.
zebra skin.
Nice. I'll accept that. Ronnie, here in Brazil, their level of respect for the rainforest and for trees in general is terrible. Just imagine, so you get these coupons, right? In the newspaper, or is it just a thing of coupons separate by itself?
Yeah, no, I don't get a regular newspaper.
Okay.
But I get like 3 to 4 of these different like weekly newspaper deals.
So imagine you get these little weekly deals, but instead of getting 1 of each kind, you get 4 of each kind because the guy or girl who's delivering them wants to get rid of these coupons so badly that they like triple and quadruple up the stacks of coupons they give you. That is
like they're throwing out candy at a parade.
Yeah, pretty much. Except it's we don't even get coupons here. So here, when they go by and put advertisements in your mailbox, sometimes I will get stacks of 5, 6, or 7 of these advertisements, and it's the same exact thing. But I know that these workers, that they just want to be finished, and so they just shove as much advertisements as they can in my mailbox. During voting season, they have these voting cards and voting pamphlets and voting information. They shove it in your mailbox. After just a couple days, there's paper like shooting out of your mailbox, like a piñata. That's like that's broken at the seams, like bursting at the seams. It's ridiculous. And so I feel for you, and I also feel the anger in regards to that. For me, another area that I feel a little bit of rage is in people's behavior in public. Whether that's going with the flow of traffic, and this can be walking or driving, but most importantly, walking traffic, like walking transit. So how it works is there's this unwritten rule that as on the road, so on the sidewalk, or so in the mall, or so in anywhere you walk. If you're walking, you walk on the right side, and if you're going the opposite direction, you walk on the left side, which is their right side. That is how it works, or that's how it should work. When people decide to go all British and they go on the left side walking and they just come at you like you're playing chicken out in public, I do not like this. And not only does it make me angry when you walk on the wrong side of like the mall, for instance, where there's clearly a right side and a left side. When you're walking on my side and you walk like I'm invisible, like you don't even try to move out of the way, but you try to walk through me, that is not cool.
They put their shoulders wide and they start walking like you move.
Yeah, exactly. And they don't even look at you, like they pretend like you don't even exist. That drives me crazy. And in regards to that also, when somebody stops in the middle of like a very like busy walking area to just do something random, to look at their phone, to text someone, and they stand in the middle where everybody's walking back and forth, that drives me crazy, because it's like, dude, go to the side. Go in an area where there are not people walking, where there are not children and families trying to get by. You're like totally starting up like this congestion and stuff within the area.
Yeah, along the same lines of that is when there's like a group of people and they take up the entire walkway.
Oh, yeah.
So there's like, there's enough room for 4 people to walk, 2 on each side. And then you have one group that's walking one way, taking up the entire sidewalk or whatever.
Yeah.
That's annoying. Like, hey, get out of the way. The rest of us are trying to walk as well.
And they're strolling like it's Sunday. Like, hey, we got a place to be. I am not a stroller. Like, I don't just like to walk and kind of look around. I have point A, point B, point C. And once I go to those places, I'm done. I get in my car and go. That's how I do it with my family, with my kids. I don't like to fool around most of the time. Just the other day, we were driving down the highway, and a group of like 50 bicyclists on a Sunday, they completely took up a 4-lane highway, and they did not allow any cars to get by them. It was ridiculous. Speaking of people driving, car-related pet peeves, on our Discord, Tim Paullin posted, actually he commented on Patrick's picture when he asked everyone for pet peeves, and he simply did a little emoji finger pointing up at a picture of a Porsche parking in 2 parking spots. And he said, this is a pet peeve of mine. And then he said after that, of course, if I owned a Porsche, I'd probably park just like that.
I hope he never gets a Porsche.
I know, right? Along with that, Nerdish67, one of our newer members on the Discord, he said, I'm that guy that would park my vehicle diagonally right next to that car. So pretty much it would get stuck in that spot. Yeah.
Nice.
People taking up like multiple parking spots definitely is definitely a no-yo. A no-no.
It's a no-yo.
It's a no-yo. Tim Paullin also said other pet peeves: dishes in the sink, clutter, people that don't tip, and those very same people being rude to their waitress.
Mm-hmm.
I will agree with the people being rude and not tipping for sure. But dishes in the sink and clutter, I am definitely guilty of that a lot.
Yeah, I'm right there.
I'm not a big fan of clutter either. Like it is a serious pet peeve of mine. Like I'm the only one that lives in my house, so it is like normally very clean.
That's good.
And if there is like a little bit of clutter happening, like it's like a panic cleanup. Like, all right, I got to get rid
It's
of
like,
this.
I got to do this
So
now.
I totally get that. Yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah. Travis Popsicle, he had this to say on the Discord. He said, cashiers chewing gum while they ring me out, and then they get mad when I politely tell them to stop. Shaking my head. Fair enough.
I wonder how that conversation goes.
Yeah, I know, right? Because one...
Wait a minute, just the cashier is chewing gum?
Yeah, like they're ringing you up, and they're just like, chewing that gum while they're ringing you up.
While you're ringing me up, like how would you tackle that?
I don't know.
Instead of just saying stop.
Close your mouth.
I mean, he said...
Do me a favor.
He said he politely tell them. So he's like, hey, do you mind stop? Maybe they're like chewing it loudly. I would imagine they're chewing it loudly. I can't imagine they're just like silently chewing gum.
Ugh.
They're like,
Are they allowed to do that?
I mean,
They're allowed to chew gum?
apparently.
You think about how loud stores are typically. Like that dude would have to be, or whatever, would have to be pretty chomping pretty loud.
Yeah.
No, maybe Travis has really good hearing.
Maybe he
It's
does.
possible.
Maybe.
It's Travis possible.
Travis.
Oh, nice.
Awesome. Travis Pops. Possible.
Yeah, I'd like to know how one of those start, though. Excuse me, ma'am, but would you mind shutting your mouth for the rest of this transaction, please?
I think Travis, if you're listening right now, I think the next time this happens, you need to have a friend, have somebody who's with you, get out their camera and film how you approach telling these people to politely stop chewing gum, because we're all very curious. I have no idea what politely means, so please enlighten us. Now, speaking of fair enough, that's how Travis ended what he had to say. Arctic Warlocks, our buddy Matt, had this to say. He said, when people use the term fair enough, that is his pet peeve. I have coworkers that use it at least 6 times a day, like they need to fill a quota with the other fair enough users. What got me in this kick is when a coworker came by my desk to ask a question, and when I gave my response, he said, fair enough. Don't tell me that you've had enough of my response. You asked the question. For those that know me, I am not long-winded. Using this term means you are in a discussion and a disagreement comes along, so much so that one side is willing to drop the topic because there has been so much back and forth and it's time to move on and talk about something else.
Well, to me, like, I certainly get where he's coming from, but I think the way I see it when I hear fair enough, it's kind of like touche. You're right.
I guess it really depends on how you say it. The tone.
The context and tone, yeah.
For sure.
Fair enough.
Yeah, touche, sir.
I will say there are times when people misuse words or phrases, but irregardless, you have to just kind of pay attention to their tone. No, really, I can't think of any, but I know there are things that are overused. I know that sometimes I overuse words. Like there are times when I'm like, I know, right? There was a season of my life when I think I used I know, right? At least there was a season. I don't think I do it now. Maybe I do, and I'm just oblivious. But irregardless, I used to use it a lot. and I remember one day my wife's like, you've said that like 4 times in 4 minutes. And I'm like, I know, right? So
I know, right?
Can you believe it?
I always hate getting that back in
pulling
like
out
a
the
text
Homestar
message.
there.
You're like, yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
Like that. You're like, I know, right? And it's like, yeah, that's what I just said.
That's what
that is
what I
right.
just said. All right, this is the last round, go around. So, what honorable mentions, what last pet peeves do you have, Mark? Go ahead.
Okay, so the real quick honorable mention for my last one is actually one from my wife, and it's the fact that, like, around here we're all big into superhero movies, Marvel movies, DC, all that kind of stuff, and so that at the end of a lot of, or pretty much every Marvel movie, and a lot of movies today, there's the after credits spoiler, or not spoiler. Well, yeah, I guess it is a spoiler, but the after credits scene where something like a little extra special happens. And so I don't want people to miss that. And so sometimes I I just want to make sure that I'm not missing it first and foremost. So I look up. There's a website that literally says, "Is there an after credit scene or not?" And so, once I know that there is one, then a lot of times, because a lot of times at the end of movies, a lot of people still just get up and walk out.
Yep.
They don't stay. And so I don't want them to miss it. And so I always yell out, "There's an after credit scene." And my wife absolutely hates that.
That's
because
hilarious.
she doesn't.
Oh man,
She doesn't.
Now that's when you talk in a movie theater.
Yeah.
Is when you tell people there's an after credit
That's
scene.
like
'cause
that's saving lives.
Very helpful.
That is saving lives.
Yeah.
That's important.
She sees that as unwelcome attention to us, and she doesn't like that, which I've learned to respect that as much as I really want to tell people, because I don't want them to miss it. But yeah, she absolutely hates it when I do that.
You're doing a public service, Mark. You need to just find a different way.
You are.
Maybe take
You're helping people.
take a bag of pebbles, and when people try to leave, just kind of peg them with it. Just kind of throw it, and when they look at you, just shake your head.
Just bring a sign and just tape it up in the front.
That's probably
that's still the unwelcome attention thing.
yeah. That's
You just walk away from the sign.
Just walk through each row and just tap them on the shoulder like after credits, after the movie, after credits, after the movie.
Oh, geez.
Okay, so yeah. So my last pet peeve I'm going to share is when people make scenes in public, which is a lot of what goes along with what you were talking about, Lucas, with public behavior, rude behavior. But this is more so like making unwelcome scenes in public. Like, take your private business elsewhere. You don't need to be doing this in like the middle of like a Walmart or something like that. Like for example, in my city, there was recently a fight that broke out at a Golden Corral.
Oh, whoa.
Not surprising.
So, like, you just need to step back from the situation for a moment and realize you're about to get into a fight at a Golden Corral. Like, that's just pathetic to me.
Probably over all the good food there.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yep.
Was it that chocolate waterfall thing or whatever? I don't know. But
Chocolate waterfall.
that's a thing. It really is a thing.
Two guys duking it out over that.
It's my turn at the chocolate waterfall, Daryl. Get back. No, Farrell, it's my turn to get in the chocolate waterfall.
But yeah, just really public scenes, especially ones that are like uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, take your private business and settle it elsewhere.
Yeah, I totally agree. I hate like that uncomfortable feeling when there's like a public argument or something going on. Like, it's the worst.
Yep, for sure.
I have to share a story. I'm going to try to be real quick because I know that we still have some more pet peeves to cover, but there was one Christmas here in Brazil where my family and I pulled in, and you know how it is during the holidays, like pulling into a parking lot and finding a spot can be really tough. And it was Christmas Eve, so it was our own fault for going to the mall on Christmas Eve. But we finally found a spot. We were clearly the first ones to see it. Like, when we were starting to pull up to the spot, there was nobody around. All of a sudden, while we're pulling up to the spot, an SUV screeches its tires around the corner, starts driving at us. We pull in very quickly because we see what's about to happen. This person is trying to take the spot from us. We quickly pull in, and this woman pulls her SUV right behind us. She pulls it right behind us. I can't talk. Right behind us, and she begins to scream at us, saying all kind of things from, "Oh, since you're not from here." Apparently, we had like, "We're gringos, we're Americans, we're not from Brazil," like on our foreheads, because we were still in the car, and she was yelling at us for a good 3 minutes while we were sitting in the car, like just saying stuff like, "Oh, just because you're Americans, you feel like you can do whatever you want. You're not from around here. You think you're better than us. This was my spot first." Now, I want to give you some more context. She was with her teenage daughter, and her teenage daughter this entire moment in this entire like public display of anger was like trying to like crouch down in the car so nobody could see her. And in my family at this time, I had a 2-year-old, a 5-year-old, 4 or 5-year-old, and then my wife and myself. So I had a kid that was still like pretty small. I want to say he was actually 1-year-old. My son was at the time. This was probably our second or third Christmas in Brazil. And so I have a son who's in a stroller, and this lady is yelling at us that it was her spot, that we should get out of the spot and give her the spot. And she refused to stop yelling. She refused to move her SUV until we moved. And she said she was going to call security. So after, 5 minutes of this, we finally get out. And my wife gets out and yells back at her, "Fine, we'll move." Well, right in this moment when my wife says this, the car in front of us pulls out to leave. And we pull our car forward. And we pretty much look at her and be like, "Yeah, happy now? You get your pretty little spot, and we're that much closer to the mall." So, and so, but you know what? It would have been a good story if it had stopped there. But this is a great story. We get into the mall, and this lady runs up behind us and immediately goes to security and starts to complain about us in front of everybody in the mall, screaming at the top of her lungs that we stole her spot and that we deserve to be fined or kicked out or something crazy. We just kept walking and ignored this crazy lady. It was crazy. Merry Christmas.
Wow.
Yeah.
What?
So, Patrick, you got any last minute pet peeves?
I got one, and this happens a ton. And it is when someone asks me a question specifically. It's like, "Patrick, what do you think?" or what happened in this? And then before I can answer, someone else answers for me. It's like, "Wait, hold on a second. Your name's not Patrick?" Yeah, it really irritates me.
It happens all the time in like meetings and stuff at work.
So do you do the elevator thing and you're like, you interrupt them and you're like, "No.
No, I know.
They
I
asked
just,
me."
I let them do it. I let them
Do
do
ya?
it because they're apparently ready to answer whatever the question is. I just let them do it.
I like to think that he like flips the conference room table when this happens.
Preposterous. My turn.
I would love to do that.
I like to think he's
Love
been
to.
keeping score and he has like a list of all the times that it's
People that he's
happened.
knocked down.
No, there's times where if it happens multiple times and someone asks me a question again, I won't answer. I will just be quiet.
Or you'll just look at the person that's been
And I'll look
interrupting.
at the person like, "Do you want to answer this one? Are you ready?"
I think Dave knows. Let's let him answer again.
Yeah, I know, exactly. Dave.
Go ahead, Dave. Oh, jeez. That's
Full
awful.
confession. I'm
Oh, Marcus.
I'm guilty.
Marcus James. Come
That's
on.
hilarious.
I'm
Oh,
guilty of doing
jeez.
that. I'm guilty of doing that sometimes.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Mark's like, "I know. I just Googled it." Oh man, that is hilarious. Actually, Ronnie, what do you got?
All right.
Last
So
chance. Air it out.
mine, the one that aggravates me, I think, the most often is like driving. So like when you're driving on a highway or multi-lane, and like I'm one of those people, like I always have my cruise control set. So I'm just driving along, and I hate when people like come up behind you, they go around, and then they basically just drive right next to you, almost like the same speed,
Yes,
awkwardly.
Yeah.
Or the people that like they pass you and then like you're not in front of them anymore, so then they slow way down, go back, then they pass you again, and it's like this just keeps repeating. It's like, man, would you just get away from me? Like, just get
Yeah.
away from me.
You just want to be like, "Do you have cruise control? Because you should use it."
Yeah, it's like just I would just prefer to drive separate of anywhere near you. So yeah, that one drives me insane.
Yeah, that's rough. For me, the last one I had to share was, I can't go without mentioning a specific type of smoker. I'm gonna be honest, and full disclosure, I have a hard time with smokers. Now, I will say that I love people that are smokers. I like people. There are people in my life that I like that are smokers. But when people smoke and then they throw it on the ground after they've used it, when people smoke around children, I observed actually a few months ago a lady holding a baby. This baby had to be no more than 7 or 8 months old. Holding a baby and smoking while holding the baby, blowing it the opposite direction, thinking they were somehow not getting it in the baby, and then the wind would blow the smoke in the baby's face. And the baby's eyes were watering, and the baby was coughing. It made me sick. I mean, honestly, that's beyond a pet peeve, because
that's more than a pet peeve.
Yeah, it probably
sure.
is beyond a pet peeve, but it's just bad etiquette with already, I think, bad practices. Now, I understand there are people that have, I understand everything that goes around smoking, but just when you do it, it's one thing to do it and it affects your life, but when you're doing something that hurts other people, that's just too far. So that's my last pet peeve, last gripe that I'm gonna throw out there. We have a few more pet peeves from our listeners, from our friends on the Discord. Ash Ingram said, my pet peeves are being interrupted when I talk, rude customers or workers, people that cut in line, smelly people on public transport, inconsiderate smokers. There it is, Ash, right with you. Drivers not indicating, because there are some cars that don't have blinkers on them. They didn't build it in the car.
They ran out of blinker fluid.
Yeah, blink. I hate when that happens. Running out of blinker fluid. Jeez, I've never heard that before. That's hilarious. Now I can't not think about that lady Patrick when I say that's hilarious. I want to be like, that's hilarious.
That's hilarious.
She also said people chewing with their mouth open and the Kardashians.
That's a pet peeve. I'll agree with that.
Again,
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Fair. I need to cross off 9 of the ones I was going to talk about. All right.
Fair enough, Matt. Terrajacked. He said, my biggest pet peeves are when people correct, quote unquote, you while you're telling a story. When people interrupt you while you're talking. Sorry, Marc. When people chew with their lips open. I've never heard it lips open.
Lips open.
They're like,
their teeth are closed, but their lips are open.
Yeah, they're chewing like with making a kiss face. Yeah, that would be a pet peeve of mine if I saw people do that.
That would be a pet peeve, yeah.
Like, why do you have your lips open, weirdo? Just chew regular.
That's like permanent Donald Trump face. It tastes so good.
Or they chew their food while they're having a conversation with you. Oh, and also while you're having a conversation with them and just... That's all he says. He's up there. Thank you for that, Terrajacked. Our last Discord member comes from MikeBC, score Mike. He said, how much time do you have? I'm a small bit OCD. He says, I hate it when people hang up on me. I've been known to call them back and yell. I hate it when people touch my face, even my wife and especially my kids. Oh, that's too bad.
Goodness.
My wife doesn't like her hair to be touched by her kids, probably because they don't ever wash their hands. But things being wildly messy or out of place don't bother me, but being slightly wrong will bug me so much. Case in point, the pastor was using a chair as a prop a few weeks ago, and when he was done, he put it back poorly. I guess he didn't put it back the right way. And he said, I was in the choir loft and I couldn't go down to fix it, put the chair in its proper place. So I started pretending I needed a fan so an usher could come up with one. And I told him, a 13-year-old, to go down and fix the chair. He says, okay. Then he promptly leaves the building without fixing the chair. And I leaves
the building. I was not paid for this.
He said, Mike said, I got so upset about the chair. I eventually texted my teenage son, who was sitting a few rows behind the chair, and told him to sneak up and fix it. And the look my son gave me, well, if looks could kill. Oh, jeez.
I don't know. That kind of irritates me too when people don't like push in their chair after they're finished. I mean, if they push it back in and it's not the right way, yeah, I guess that's a little bit OCD. But if they're just like leave it there, like away from the table or away from the desk or wherever it is, it's like, you need to push that back in.
I can see that.
Be a little, it's a little considerate.
Yeah. I can see
I like to think the kid, after he didn't fix the chair, was like giggling on the way out the door. Like, I told that guy I was going to fix the chair.
Yeah.
I was gonna push it over.
Oh, jeez. I bet. Oh, man. Well, I think we've covered the gamut of pet peeves. If anybody in our Discord, if any of our listeners, if you want to comment, if you want to share with us some more pet peeves you have.
I do have one more.
Oh, do you have one more, Ronnie? Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh.
Yeah, so I got a comment on the Facebook post I shared. It's from Justin Seibert, which is one of my good friends.
Nice, good save.
And he said, I might be nitpicking, but when you ask someone a direct question and they give you an answer that in a roundabout way answers the question, but doesn't answer what you asked. And he said, example for clarify. Who won the baseball game? ? Answer, the Reds lost.
Yeah, I could see that. That's like the political answer where you like talk around it or you don't actually acknowledge their question almost. You gotta answer it the way you want to.
For sure.
Good save, Ronnie. I missed that one. But yeah, if anybody else has any pet peeves they want to share, feel free to find us on our Discord server. All that information, of course, is on the show notes, thanks to our brother Patrick. So, guys, we've reached the end of our time together. It's been fun sharing them pet peeves. Do we have any final thoughts? Any music? There.
Oh, for sure we have music.
DJ Marcy?
Oh, faux show.
So a couple of things to touch on real quick. Obviously, you can always find the Good Morning Guys morning playlist on Spotify. And thanks to Bernabe, it's on iTunes as well.
Thanks, Bernabe.
Yeah. And also, for those who listen and who are part of our Discord server, which you should join if you're not a part of it, you can also submit, I guess they can post it in the episode chat thread or whatever. Just keep it one place where I can see it. If you have one submission you'd like to send in, preferably around the theme of that particular week's episode. If you have a submission for a song that you want to send to us to possibly be added to the playlist, I will pick one each week. Of course, it's up to my discretion. It's got to be something appropriate, and I make the final say. But yeah, go ahead and send your submissions. So with that in mind, since we only got a couple this week, I decided to take the two that were submitted to us. So with the idea of pet peeves, it sort of went on a theme of driving us crazy, that kind of thing. And so Ash Michelle, and I believe it was Travis Popsicle.
Travis who?
Travis Popsicle.
There, yes, thank you. I had no idea who you were talking about.
And I could be wrong, and I'm totally going to be oopsed for that, or in the we wrong.
No, I think you're right. It was those two.
Yeah. They sent She Drives Me Crazy by the Fine Young Cannibals.
It's good. It's good.
That is a good one.
And Psycho from Puddle of Mud. It's a good song. I enjoy it.
True that.
And then my two submissions are the song Crazy from Gnarls Barkley.
Yeah.
And also, there's always a wonderful opportunity to throw in a Lifehouse song. There's a song that Lifehouse did. It's called Nerve Damage. And I'm going to throw that one in there. So those are our additions for this week.
Very nice. Very nice. All I will say real quick is, as we have been complaining most of this episode about our pet peeves, a quick reminder brought to you by Matthew 7. Do not judge, so that you won't be judged. Why do you look at the speck in your brother's eye, but don't notice the log in your own eye? Or how can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, and look, there's a log in your eye? Hypocrite. Take that log out of your eye, then you'll clearly see to take the speck out of your brother's eye. we, of course, all have our own pet peeves, but we also are a source of pet peeves from time to time. So let's all work together. Of course, we can, in a safe place, complain and talk about all the things we notice that are wrong with the world, but we have to make sure that we're also being a solution in the world. So let's continue to encourage each other, continue to have patience and love, and one way or the other, we will work together to look past those pet peeves and make the world a better place. So thank you so much for joining us, guys. It's been a blast. That's all we have for this good morning. Just a friendly reminder, feel free to leave us a positive but honest review on iTunes if you have a couple minutes to spare. And remember that you can respond to any questions, ask any questions for future episodes, connect with our community on Discord and Twitter. And again, those are in the show notes. You can also email us, call us at 929GMG-Guys. We'd love to hear from you. Maybe you could intro the show or just ask a question. Beyond that, we look forward to talking at you again next week on podcast services around the globe as we have a discussion about our past, present, and future pets. We are continuing the pet theme, my friends. We will talk about those little furry or scaly critters and creatures that have impacted our lives, our wallets, and our hearts in good ways and bad over our lifetime. So Pat, Marc, and Ronnie J., who for the 20th time in a row did not watch Superman. You listeners, our friends and family, go get your good morning this week. May God bless and guide your lives as you live, work, and game.
That's hilarious.
Marc, what a way to end the show.
Nice. Very nice.
I was gonna hold that silently until somebody said something because I just had a feeling someone was gonna have something to say.
Oh, that's so good.
1, 2, 3, 4.
March is here, the best month is here, my poop.
What the heck? Crash and burn.
Mulligan.
Crash and burn. I don't know what I was going to say, but
March's tear. That's what I heard.
That's
All
quite
right.
sad.
Let's try that again. Do I need to do Marc again, or do I just go ahead
No,
and sing
you don't. We're already there.
Okay, great. Oh, I know this is going at the end now. Dang it.